Well, good morning, fellow debt slayers. Today is Thursday, November 21st, and because it was raining out this morning, we're going to talk about how to fund a rainy day fund or an emergency fund. My name is Stephen Gallagher. I'm a certified debt coach, and my company name is Debt Free Results. And my personal goal is to help people address your debt. My website is www.debtfreeresults.com. So hit the like button down below, and if there's anything that I can help you with, please feel free to send an email or send a note, and I will address your debt questions. No questions. So, and if you know anybody that has a need for a debt coach, please refer them over to me or to my website. They can sign up for a free consultation, and it's confidential, and I'll help you out any way that I can. I've helped many people address their debt. Personally, I was in debt back in 2017, and I was able to go from $90,000 in debt, and that included car loans, student loans, a home equity line of credit, and a bunch of credit cards. And we went from $90,000 in debt down to zero. And we've lived a debt-free life ever since. So I know it works. I've seen it work on many of my clients. And I'll be more than happy to talk to you about how I can help you as well. So in the Dave Ramsey baby steps, step one is an emergency fund. But in this case, because it was raining out, we're going to call it a rainy day fund. And you can call it whatever you want. But this fund is set up and set aside specifically for emergencies. And what I tell my clients is that you should set this fund up in a high yield savings account with no minimum balance is required. And they're out there. Actually, there's a lot of them out there. And also make sure that this high yield, no minimum balance fund has check writing capabilities or features. And if your bank doesn't have it, or if your credit union doesn't have it, find another one that does. Because what you want to do is, instead of getting paid 0.025% on your money, a high yield savings account with no minimum balance can get you between 4 and 5% of interest. And the goal of this account is to just sit there, never be used except for emergencies. And that's why people call them a rainy day fund or an emergency fund. So this morning, before I did this video, I went out online and just typed in high yield, no minimum balance savings accounts. And there are a lot of them out there. But online, I found 3 that I just wrote down for this video. The first one was Capital One. They're offering a high yield account with 4% interest. NerdWallet was offering accounts with 5% interest, and SoFi Financial is offering high yield accounts at 4.2% interest. Now, I didn't go into details and find out their capabilities or their features, but quickly, there are savings accounts out there that are paying higher than 4%. And nowadays, I would rather take 4% over 0.02 or 0.025%, because the only ones who are making money out of this deal is the banks. So I wanted to give you guys two examples of how My emergency fund was used over the summer and then earlier this month. But all my clients, before we do anything, I make sure that my clients have a funded emergency fund. And there's value in that, because when it comes down to problems, household, car, health, whatever it is, you're gonna use the rainy day fund. So my first example was this past July. Our AC went out on a Saturday night, and down in Florida, it is warm and hot all summer long. It was a typical Murphy's Law. It was a hot Saturday, and it was after dinner, and my wife said, geez, it's getting warm in here. And I went over to the thermostat, and sure enough, it was 84 degrees in the house. And so I went out and checked the AC unit and all that type of stuff, and it wasn't working. So what we did was we got out our box fans. We had 3 of them, and we circulated air, and we toughed it out for 3 days, for Saturday night, Sunday, and then until Monday morning, because I wasn't going to pay for an emergency fee. And so we got that going. On Monday morning, we called the HVAC guy on Saturday and scheduled for first thing Monday morning. He came out and he said that the blower motor in the AC unit was broken. And so I said, all right, well, let's get it fixed. And the total bill was $487.50. That and 2 days of hot air, we got it fixed. And the price for the blower to be fixed, it was a high number, but it was well worth it. And being able to pull out a checkbook and just write him a check to fix, for that fix, was very calming. Whereas if I didn't have my rainy day fund or emergency fund, and I was trying to figure out how to fix it, that's the big deal. So having it set aside and not touched, that is the key to a rainy day fund. Murphy is going to knock on your door, and you're not going to know when it is. And so, I wrote a check and paid for the blower motor, and we've been with AC ever since. So, I have people saying, what, sorry, someone just sent me an email. So after we write a check for the emergency fund, what we do is we go into our budget and we put a line item in our budget to make sure that we backfill the money that we just spent on that emergency. So it took us 2.5 months, to have a line item to pay the rainy day fund or emergency fund X dollars, so that it would be refilled, if you will, for the next emergency. And it happened. Earlier this month in November, I was having issues with my truck, and I didn't see it, but my mechanic did. I was able to get the truck. I drove the truck to my mechanic, and he got underneath and he said that I was leaking transmission fluid. And I guess I'm not a mechanic, but the transmission fluid hose had a hole in it and it was leaking transmission fluid. So thank goodness that I was able to get it to him and he was able to fix it. But again, that cost $250. I was able to write a check and pay him for a job very well done. And we went back into our budget and we had a line item, and we'll have that paid off in 2 months. So using your emergency fund and having a budget, work hand in hand, because technically when you're paying yourself for the emergency fund, it is a debt, it is a bill, and you have to make sure that it takes priority, because when this car issue happens, or if the AC blower breaks or stops running, and it will. I mean, it's no questions. Murphy is going to knock on that door, and you're going to have to answer it. Having an emergency fund is a great thing. It's peace of mind knowing that you can pay for the bill. Now, the bill might be more than what's in your emergency fund, but at least you have that amount of money set aside to pay down, the bill. It's also better than putting it on a credit card. And nowadays, credit cards, are 27 to 30% of interest. So if you think about it, if I didn't have my rainy day fund / emergency fund, and I had to put that $487 blower problem on a credit card, I would be paying 30% interest on top of that money that I already paid. Then in November, with the additional $250, that $250 on top of the $487, that's another 30% on top of that. You're never going to get out of debt. So the way to address this is be proactive, start an account, make sure that you have that high yield, because 4% interest is better than 0.02 or 0.025%. And I have many clients. That the first step that that would be the second step, but who have these funded emergency fund and rainy day funds set up. And when their issue happens, when Murphy knocks on their door, I always either get an email or I get a text message saying, thank you because I was able to pay for this, or thank you, I was able to pay for that. Whereas if they didn't set up, a rainy day fund, they'd be automatically just put on a credit card. So, strongly recommend it. So we never, ever use the emergency fund for anything but an emergency. So dinner's out on a Friday night, that's not an emergency. Birthday presents for the kids or for family members is not an emergency. Buying a rug or buying a jacket or whatever for the house is not an emergency. And I hope you understand what I'm saying. I am very adamant about leaving the money alone and just using it when you have to. So I hope that you understand what I'm saying. And I'll ask you, do you have an emergency fund or a rainy day fund? And if you don't, that's fine. Start one today. There's no reason why anyone can't start an emergency fund, rainy day fund today, and fund it with $10, $20. And then over time, build up and fund your that account. You can do the math, but if I had a savings account giving me 0.02 or 0.025% interest, that's 2% of 1% or 0.2% of 1%, whereas a high yield fund is 4 to 5%. You do the math, but it definitely adds up. So that's where we go from there. Hold on for a second. I just got an email from someone, and I want to read this, read it out loud. Let's see. Hello, Stephen. I have followed you for months, and now I have a question about one of my credit cards. I get a zero interest. I got a zero interest credit card 13 months ago from my bank, and it will start charging me interest at 29.9% in January of 2025, and I have a $2,500 balance on the card. I also have a HELOC that charges me 6.75%, and I'm thinking about paying off my credit card with my HELOC and save myself 23.15% in interest. Do you think this is a good idea? Hi, Anna. Thank you very much for the email. In this case, Anna, I would pay that credit card off with your HELOC. It's not there to do that, but in this case, you would be saving yourself a lot of money. And I would print off the statement when your balance is zero. I would then, and I would do that today. I would do that in November, pay it off now so that it goes through a cycle and you have a zero interest so that they can't hit you with interest in January. Because what they will do is go back and hit you with 29.9% interest for your whole balance of $5,500, and they will just tack it on in February. So yes, I would do that now. Then what I would do is the day that you write the HELOC. I believe that you said the credit card was with your bank, and the HELOC I believe is with your bank. I'm not sure, but if your HELOC and your mortgage is with your bank, I would electronically pay the credit card off. I would then call the bank and cancel the credit card. I would ask them to send you a letter indicating that you have canceled the card, and then I would cut the card up with scissors, and I would hang on to that letter just in case they hit you with an interest fee. You can show that to the bank and do a CYA and show them. Oh, there's another email. Show them that you paid it off in November instead of January, and that you shouldn't be charged interest. So that's just something that you should do. Something else is it's psychologically cutting up a credit card and calling the bank and canceling it is one thing, but actually cutting up a credit card, psychologically, it is beneficial. Knowing that you're one step closer to becoming debt-free. This also helps your credit score because you won't have that $5,500 balance or whatever the credit line is for that or credit line on that credit card is, that will be taken off of your debt. So your credit card, your credit score will go up in the future. So I would also suggest that, Anna, that you go to my website, which is www.debtfreeresults.com. Schedule a call with me, and we can talk about your debt, and if there's anything else that I can help you with in reference to putting a plan together for you to address your debt and your HELOC and such. I'd be more than happy to do that. So I hope that answers your question, and good luck with that. So back to the rainy day fund or the emergency fund that we were talking about. It may take a couple of months for you to fund your account. And a lot of people will say, well, how do I do that? And because of the fact that I suggest a zero minimum balance, start it with $25. Put it in a line item into your budget, and make sure that you pay that fund religiously, because that fund will save you in the future. Number two, go through your house, find old things that you don't use anymore and sell them on Marketplace. Now, the key here is I have some clients who have a $500 rainy day fund. I have some clients who have $1,500 rainy day funds. Dave Ramsey in Baby Step 1 suggests $1,000. It's not going to be the end all, but it is a start. So go through the house, go through your garage. If there's something that you're not using or your family's not using or the kids aren't using, sell it. Sell it on Marketplace. Have a yard sale. Sell stuff out, and get rid of it. The key here is that every $5 and $10 that you can put towards your rainy day fund helps grow that account. And what you should do is when you get that money, write it, go put that in the bank, write a check and put that into your emergency fund. It's very easy, and I will say I've done it years ago. It's very easy to say, oh, geez, we made $100 on the yard sale. Let's go out for Chinese food, or let's go order pizza. Don't do that. Stick to the plan. Take that money. The goal is for your emergency fund, i.e. rainy day fund, and that is a way to fund your emergency fund. So if you need help with this, or if you know someone who needs help with this, visit me at www.debtfreeresults.com. Like us below, and if you could, like us and forward us. The only way that I can help more people is from people like you, my clients like you, who can refer me to other people to help address debt. And that's my goal. So remember, this is not a sprint. This is a marathon. This is going to take time. It took you a long time to get into debt. It's going to take time to get out of debt, but it can be done. I've seen it many times. The Dave Ramsey baby step methodology has been used by millions of people around the world, and I know it can be used by you, and you can successfully become debt-free with the right type of plan, the right type of budget, and the willpower from you to say that you want to get out of debt. And if you do want to get out of debt and not be a slave to the institutions, then I can help you. And all my clients have definitely made progress in reference to becoming debt-free, and I can help you as well. So I hope you have a great day. If you need help, again, www.debtfreeresults.com. My name is Stephen Gallagher. God bless. Have a great day, and we will be on next week. Have a good one. Bye-bye.